Hello, this is Don Britton. This is my 1999 R170 Mercedes SLK, and today I'm going to change the front discs and pads because they're squealing. I've just undone the master cylinder. I've done the other side already, and this is the driver's side. So here we are. Like I say, I've done one side already. Weather's not so good, so let's hope that we can get this side done and follow along, and I'll try and show you how to do it. Right, the wheel nuts on this SLK are 17mm. And you should jack up your car in the correct place. And on this car, it's there. There's like a rubber bung. That means it's safe to jack it up. Right, as you can see, this disc is quite badly scored, and it's quite a bit thinner than it should be. So first thing you've got to do is take this off. I'm going to do this with a screwdriver very gently. Prise it off. You need to be very careful because it's under a lot of tension. When you get one end off, then the other one's not so bad. There, it's off. Right, this is an ordinary SLK, and you need to be careful when you order the brakes, because if you've got an AMG version, the discs are a different size, so be warned. The front ones have a wear sensor on them, which just unplugs like that. In my kit I got new ones of these, so I should be changing them. Then, right, the caliper is held on by two torque screws, and they are behind these plastic caps, one there and one there. When you take those caps off, you can see the screw underneath. These are the caps. They just push on to stop dirt getting into the slider, and the sliders are in there on the top and in there on the bottom. To get the sliders out, you need a Torx bit like this, and it is a T45, and you just put that in the hole and then undo them. Before I do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the wheel to the right so it's easy to get to the nuts and to the bolts. It's a lot easier now, as you can see what's going on. Anyway, so I'm going to undo the sliders. These are the sliders. Now you've got to clean them up, unless you've got some new ones, which I haven't. They didn't come with the kit. And you grease them before they go back in. Right, so now this caliper is loose, and you just have to prise it off very gently, being very careful. Obviously you don't need to push against the piston, you can do it just by gently doing it. I use a screwdriver, just gently, 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 and it will come off. See, it's loose. Just after a bit of to-ing and fro-ing, you can see it's loose. It comes off. It's the brake pads that are holding it on. Right, but be careful because of the wire, but I'm going to put it up there, out of the way for a minute. And then, next thing to do is take the disc off, and you can see this one's got a nasty lip all the way around. And it's held on by these two bolts here, and they're in quite tight. So these are on quite tight. They're 18mm. I'm going to have to use a big pry bar to get them off because they've got Loctite on them and they're difficult to get off. After loosening them off with a pry bar, they just come off easily now. These are the bolts, you can see they've got Loctite on them. Anyway, when you've got those off, you can take the carrier off, put it to one side. Next thing to do is take the disc off. And the disc is held on with one grub screw there. That screw that holds the disc on is like a Allen key, and this one's a 5 CRV. Just put it in, undo it, and then the disc will come off. And And there it is, off. I might just take this guy, it takes a bit of wiggling to get it off, but anyway, it's off. What I do now is I'm going to clean up all this area with this brush. Pads out of here and push the piston back in with a special tool. I've actually got a big set of, this is especially for brake calipers, and I'm going to try and use this, but you can buy these other ones as well. It's like a ratchet one. When you undo it, it pushes it in. I'll try this one first. I tried to use this one, but it didn't seem to want to go, so I've got my little kit in it. And it is pushing it in now. So you need to use whatever you can. This is how I'm doing it. Okay, and you see it's pushing it in. This bit's pushing on the top, this bit's pushing on the bottom. Just turn the handle and it pushes it down. And you can see it's in there now. I'm just going to clean all this up a bit and then start putting it back together again. Right, these are my new disc and pads. Now normally you'll see that there's all oil and grease on, some oil to protect the disc. I want you to note this one, they're fitment ready, they are not coated, right? So you can just put them on without using cleaner. You can use cleaner if you want, but please note, don't complain. These ones are special discs that don't need any further treatment. When you compare the new one to the old one, you can see quite a bit thicker, difficult to see. See if I can show it a bit better. I say it's not huge, but these ones have got a nasty lip on them, so anyway, it's getting changed. When you put it back on, you have to line it up. It's a bit awkward, but you get the little grub screw there. That's all that holds it on. Okay, the disc's on. And now I've got to put the carrier back on. Just going to give it a quick clean with my drill. Hold on. Dirt on. Then bolt it back on like it came off. We're going to put some Loctite on the bolt. Remember, they were Loctited from new, so I'm going to put some on before I bolt this back on. Loctite. These are the new pads. If you look, they're well worn. This is the one that's got the sensor on. I've got a new sensor to put on. But if you look at it by the old one, not a lot left. This is the new sensor. This is a wear sensor. And you can see the old one clips in there, but don't use the old one. Like I say, I got a new one with my pads. And it just clips in. He says. There, it's in. See, there's a hole. Just push it on anyway, it's on now. And this is what goes into the actual piston itself. So it's the inside one. Don't know if you can see, but it goes into there, into that piece there. Right, when you put the inside one on, make sure you put the cable through. It just pushes on anyway, because we've already pushed the piston back, so this just slides right on. And you can see that just plugs into there. that. Now what we've got to do, we've got to put the sliders in. I'm going to grease these and then put them in, and then it's pretty much all there except for the spring on the front. Right, put them back on and put the plastic caps on to keep the dirt out top and bottom. So sensors in, everything's ready to go. Just put the wheel back on and make sure that you put your wheels on and torque them up to the right spec. Now you've done this, remember you took the cap off on the oil on the reservoir. The reason is that we've now pushed them out, pushed the calipers out, back in rather, so they pushed some brake fluid up at the top, so you need to adjust the level. So I'll show you. Mine is full now. Of course what you've got to do is get inside and push the brakes so that the calipers close, because at the moment of course you force them into the position where they're not working. So do that and then look at the level again. If necessary, take some out, because that's the maximum level. Of course it's up to here, so you have to take some out. And then when you do drive your car, you need to go gently for a while, just so they bed in. When I got in the car and started on the brake, it was like there was no brakes, but that's because you've got to compress the pads again, remember? And I've done it a few times, and if you look, the level has gone down. It's still a bit too high, but it's yeah, when I first finished it, when I put my foot on the brake initially, the pedal goes nearly down to the floor, but now it's feeling normal. What that means is you push it in and out gently, not ram it down, and what it's doing is it's forcing the brakes in and out, so to get them to their normal feel. Do that for a little while. What I will do is I'll drive it around the block real slowly just to bed them in, make sure it's alright, and then I'll check the fluid again, because it's important to keep it to the right level. In my case, later tomorrow probably I'm going to change the rear discs and pads, so it's not quite so important. I'm not going anywhere. But if this is all you're doing, the front one, you need to be careful that you don't have too much, which is just as bad as not having enough fluid in there, because if there's not an air gap on the top, it can't form a vacuum, so it can't get your brakes to work. So anyway, even if you don't understand, make sure it's on the level and not above and not below. Okay, so hopefully this has been informative and you've seen how to change these disc brakes. I'm not a professional mechanic, but I don't like paying them either. So it's not too bad, hasn't took very long, it didn't rain. So anyway, watch out for the next video when I do the back brakes. Tidying up, and what did I find? I forgot to put the spring back on, so I've got to take the wheel off and put that back on. See, anybody can make a mistake. You won't make this mistake, will you? You'll put the spring on. Not like me. It's on. Yes, it's not the right tool, I know, but I'm a bit annoyed that I missed it in the first place. Anyway, just got to put the wheel back on because the rest of the job's done. Right, I took it for a drive, gently, and brakes are okay. I took a little bit of fluid out using a bit of paper towel, just dipped it in. I'll show you now. This car's not level, but anyway, the level's normal. Everything seems to be alright, so all systems go.